My girlfriend said, "Oh wow. That sounds serious. I hope you are okay," after being disappeared when I was hospitalized. Found out why and I am questioning everything. I don't even know where to start with this. I am still processing what happened, and honestly, I am pretty messed up about it. My girlfriend Lyra and I have been together for almost 2 years. Things weren't perfect, but I thought we were solid, you know? We talked about moving in together after her lease was up, maybe getting engaged next year. I really thought she was the one. 3 weeks ago, I started having these insane stomach pains, like doubled over, cannot breathe kind of pain. I have never experienced anything like it. At first I thought it was food poisoning, but it kept getting worse. Around 2 a.m. I couldn't take it anymore and called an ambulance. Turns out my appendix was about to rupture and I needed emergency surgery. Here is the thing. I called Lyra from the ambulance. She knew I was being rushed to the hospital for emergency surgery. She knew I was scared as hell and alone. Her response: "Oh wow, that sounds serious. I hope you are okay." That was it. No, I am coming to the hospital. No, which hospital? Nothing. Just casual concern. Like I had told her my car wouldn't start. I figured she was just tired since it was the middle of the night, and maybe she would come in the morning. I went into surgery around 4 a.m. thinking she would be there when I woke up. But she wasn't. I spent the entire day after surgery alone. I called her twice. Both went to voicemail. I texted her updates about my condition. Left on read. The next day, still nothing. I am starting to panic because this isn't like her at all. We talk every day, see each other 45 times a week, for her to just vanish when I am in the hospital. Something had to be wrong. I even had the nurses call the number I had for her parents to make sure she wasn't in an accident or something. Finally, on day 3, she texts me. "Hey babe, just saw your messages. How are you feeling? Sorry, I have been so busy with work stuff. While I was having emergency surgery and recovering alone in a hospital room. I didn't know what to say. I just told her I was being discharged that afternoon and needed someone to pick me up since I couldn't drive yet. She said she couldn't because she had prior commitments, but maybe I could get an Uber. I ended up calling my buddy Jake, who dropped everything and came to get me. The whole drive home, Jake kept asking if Lyra was okay, if something had happened between us, because he couldn't understand why she wouldn't be at the hospital. I didn't have answers because I was asking myself the same questions. Here is where it gets worse. Yesterday, I was hanging out with my friend Mark, and he casually mentioned seeing Lyra at Harbor Bar downtown. The same night I was in surgery, she was with some guy he didn't recognize, looking pretty cozy. When I pressed him for details, he said they were definitely together. Holding hands, kissing, the whole thing. I confronted her about it last night. At first, she denied it, then got defensive, then finally admitted she had been hanging out with Aiden, her ex from college. Apparently, he just got back from studying abroad in London and reached out to reconnect. She swears nothing happened between them, that they are just friends catching up, but she couldn't explain why catching up was more important than being with her boyfriend during emergency surgery. When I asked her directly why she wasn't at the hospital, she got angry and said I was being clingy and dramatic, and that not everyone needs to drop their entire life because their boyfriend has a routine medical procedure. Routine. I could have died if my appendix had ruptured. The worst part is how she has been acting since then. No apology, no acknowledgement that maybe prioritizing her ex over her hospitalized boyfriend was wrong. Instead, she has turned it around on me, saying I am being controlling by questioning her friendships and that I need to work on my trust issues. I am sitting here still recovering, feeling like I don't even know the person I have been dating for 2 years. Part of me wants to believe her that it was innocent, but who abandons their partner during a medical emergency to hang out with their ex, and then lies about it. I don't know what to do. We are supposed to go to her best friend Cass's birthday party this weekend, and I cannot imagine pretending everything is normal. But maybe I am overreacting? Maybe I am being too clingy? Reddit, help me out here. Am I crazy for being hurt about this? Edit. Holy shit, this blew up. Thank you everyone for the responses. Reading through them is making me realize I am not crazy for feeling betrayed. Going to talk to Lyra tomorrow and see if she can give me a real explanation. Will update. Edit 2. To answer some questions. Yes, She knew how serious it was. I literally told her from the ambulance that they thought my appendix was about to rupture. And no, we have never had issues with trust before this. That is why this is so shocking. Update 1. First off, thank you to everyone who responded to my last post. The support from this community really helped me realize I wasn't losing my mind. Your comments gave me the courage to have a real conversation with Lyra instead of just accepting her gaslighting. So I went to her apartment yesterday to talk things through. I had prepared what I wanted to say, basically that I needed a real apology and explanation for why she chose to be with her ex instead of supporting me during a medical emergency. I thought maybe if we could just be honest about what happened, we could work through it. Yeah, that is not how it went. She immediately got defensive when I brought it up again. Started with the same lines about me being dramatic and controlling. But this time, I didn't back down. I told her that almost dying while she was out with her ex wasn't something I could just get over. And I needed her to help me understand why she made that choice. That is when she finally told me the truth. Turns out, Aiden didn't just reach out to reconnect. He had been messaging her for weeks before he came back to town. She had been texting him regularly, meeting up for coffee, all while telling me she was working late, or had plans with friends. The night I went to the hospital wasn't some innocent reunion. It was apparently the night he was finally going to make his intentions clear about wanting to get back together. According to Lyra, she had been confused about her feelings and needed to figure things out with him. She said she couldn't be at the hospital because she was dealing with important decisions about her future and couldn't handle the emotional stress of both situations at once. I just stared at her. I asked if she was seriously telling me that her ex trying to get back with her was more important than her boyfriend potentially dying. She got angry and said I was weaponizing my medical emergency and that she shouldn't have to choose between her own emotional needs and taking care of me. That is when it clicked. She wasn't apologetic because she wasn't sorry. She was mad at me for having a medical emergency that interfered with her chance to reconnect with Aiden. I asked her point blank, "Are you going to get back together with him?" She couldn't answer. She just kept saying it was complicated and she needed time to think. I told her that was all the answer I needed and left. I have been staying at Jake's place for the past few days. I am pretty much decided that we are done. But there is one weird complication that is making this harder. Remember Cass? Lyra's best friend I mentioned. She has been texting me since this all went down. Apparently Lyra told her everything, and Cass is horrified. She has been apologizing on Lyra's behalf and asking if I am okay, if I need anything. Yesterday, she brought me homemade soup and some books to Jake's place, saying she felt terrible about what her friend did. Here is the thing. I have always gotten along great with Cass, but now that I am talking to her more, I am realizing she is actually incredible. She is thoughtful, funny, and she actually seems to care about how I am feeling. In the past few days, she has shown me more genuine concern and kindness than Lyra did during our entire relationship. I am not saying anything romantic is happening. I am obviously still processing this breakup. But talking to Cass has made me realize how little emotional support I was actually getting from Lyra. I always made excuses for it, thinking she just wasn't the nurturing type. But Cass is proving that is bullshit. Some people actually do show up for the people they care about. I am planning to officially end things with Lyra this weekend. I cannot be with someone who sees my medical emergency as an inconvenience to her love life. The trust is completely gone. One question for the Reddit Hibeninde. Is it weird that I am getting closer to her best friend during this? I am not trying to start anything romantic right now, but Cass has been the one bright spot in this whole nightmare. I don't want to make things more complicated, but I also cannot help noticing that she has been more of a partner to me in 1 week than Lyra was in 2 years. Edit. Some people are asking why Cass is going against her best friend. From what she has told me, she has known Lyra since childhood. And this isn't the first time Lyra has pulled something selfish like this. Cass said she is tired of watching Lyra hurt people and then play victim when there are consequences. Edit 2. For everyone saying I should go for it with Cass. I appreciate the encouragement, but I am trying to do this right. Going to focus on healing first, then see what happens naturally. Update 2. This situation has gotten absolutely insane, and I need to vent to people who will not judge me for the mess this has become. So I officially ended things with Lyra last Sunday. It went about as well as you would expect. She alternated between trying to minimize what she had done. It was just one night. Why cannot you get over it? And blaming me for ruining her chance at true love with Aiden. She actually said she had been feeling trapped in our relationship and that my medical emergency had been emotionally manipulative timing. I kept it short, told her we were done. I would get my stuff from her place when she wasn't there, and not to contact me anymore. She seemed almost relieved, probably thinking she could now pursue Aiden without any guilt. Here is where it gets complicated. Cass had already planned a small birthday party for herself this past Saturday, just close friends at her apartment. She had invited both Lyra and me weeks ago, back when we were still together. After the breakup, she told Lyra not to come because she didn't want the drama, but she still wanted me there since we would become genuinely close friends. I almost didn't go. I didn't want to make things harder for Cass by getting between her and her oldest friend, but she insisted, saying Lyra had made her choice and now she was making hers. The party was actually amazing. Cass's friends are all cool people, artists, musicians, grad students, way more interesting than Lyra's social media obsessed crowd. I felt more comfortable in myself in one night than I had in months with Lyra's friends, and spending more time with Cass in her own space. Guys, I think I am falling for her. Hard. She is brilliant. Finishing her master's in social work, funny, creative, and just genuinely kind. She listens when I talk, asks thoughtful questions, and makes me feel like my thoughts and feelings actually matter. We ended up talking until 3 a.m. after everyone else left, and it felt like the most natural thing in the world. Nothing physical happened. We are both being careful about that, but there is definitely something there. The way she looks at me, the way conversation flows between us, the way she makes me laugh even when I am still dealing with all this emotional baggage. It is everything I thought I had with Lyra but actually didn't. But of course, Lyra found out. One of the mutual friends at the party posted some group photos on Instagram. In one of them, Cass and I are sitting close together on her couch, both laughing at something. We look comfortable and happy. Just friends having a good time, but apparently Lyra saw something more. Sunday morning, my phone exploded. Lyra called me 17 times before I finally answered. She was absolutely hysterical, screaming about how I was a backstabbing piece of shit for seducing her best friend, and how I was trying to ruin her life out of revenge. I tried to stay calm and told her that Cass and I were just friends, but that even if we weren't, it was none of her business since she had chosen Aiden over me. That just made her angrier. The best part, she kept saying I had stolen Cass from her and demanding I give her back, like Cass was her property or something. I pointed out that Cass was an adult who could choose her own friends, and that maybe if Lyra hadn't abandoned her boyfriend during a medical emergency, she wouldn't have lost both of us. She hung up on me, but then the texts started. Dozens of them. Calling me manipulative, saying I was using her friend to hurt her, that I was pathetic for rebounding with someone who pities me. Classic projection, accusing me of being manipulative when she is the one who gaslighted me about abandoning me in the hospital. Then she started texting Cass. According to Cass, Lyra was demanding she choose between their friendship and whatever is developing between us. She called Cass a disloyal bitch and accused her of being jealous of their relationship all along. Really showed her true colors there. Cass's response was perfect. She texted back, I am choosing the person who shows up when people need them over the person who abandons them. That is you, Lyra. You abandoned Elliot when he needed you most, and now you are trying to control who I can be friends with. I am done. Since then, Lyra has been on a rampage on social media, posting cryptic things about fake friends and toxic people. She has been messaging our mutual friends trying to get them to take sides. Most of them are staying out of it, but a few have reached out to say they think she is acting crazy and they support whatever makes me happy. The funniest part, I found out from Jake that Aiden basically ghosted her right after I broke up with her. Turns out he was just looking for a hookup while he was back in town. Not the grand romantic reunion she was expecting. So she threw away a 2-year relationship and her best friend for a guy who used her and disappeared. Meanwhile, Cass and I are taking things slow, but honestly, I am happier than I have been in years. She makes me feel valued and cared for in a way Lyra never did. We are planning to make things official after I have had more time to process the breakup. but we both know this is heading somewhere good. I feel bad that Cass lost her oldest friend over this, but she says she has realized their friendship had been one-sided for years. Lyra only called when she needed something, never bothered to check in during Cass's own hard times, and always expected to be the center of attention. Cass said watching how Lyra treated me was the final straw. So yeah, that is where things stand. My manipulative ex is having a meltdown because the friend she took for granted chose to support the guy she abandoned. Karma's a hell of a thing. Edit. People keep asking if I feel bad about stealing Lyra's friend. I want to be clear. I never pursued Cass or tried to come between them. Cass made her own choice based on how she saw Lyra treat me. If that friendship was so important to Lyra, maybe she shouldn't have abandoned her boyfriend to chase her ex. Edit 2. Someone asked what my recovery was like. It was rough, especially emotionally, but having someone who actually cared Cass made all the difference. Really put into perspective what I was missing with Lyra. Final update. Hey Reddit, it has been a while since I posted about the hospital ex-girlfriend situation, but I got a DM asking for an update and figured I owed you guys a final chapter since you helped me so much during that nightmare. Life is good. Really, really good. Cass and I made things official about 3 months ago, and it has been incredible. I know it sounds cheesy, but being with her has made me realize I had no idea what a healthy relationship actually looked like. She is supportive, communicates openly, shows up when I need her, and just generally treats me like I matter. Crazy concept, right? We moved in together last month, which has been awesome. Turns out when you are with someone who actually likes spending time with you, cohabitation is fun instead of stressful. We cook together, binge-watch terrible Netflix shows, and she still brings me soup when I am feeling sick. Though thankfully, nothing as dramatic as emergency surgery. Career-wise, things have been great too. The whole experience with Lyra made me realize I had been settling for less in all areas of my life. I switched jobs to a company with better culture and work-life balance, and I am way happier. Having a supportive partner who actually encourages my goals makes a huge difference. But of course, Lyra couldn't just let us be happy. About 2 months ago, she started showing up places where she knew we would be. Coffee shop near Cass's work, bars we frequent with friends, even the gym I go to, always with some excuse about how it was just a coincidence, but it was obviously intentional. Then she started the social media campaign, posting old photos of her and Cass with captions about missing my real friends, and before people showed their true colors. Really subtle stuff. She also kept trying to make mutual friends choose sides, which mostly just made people uncomfortable and avoid her. The breaking point came 3 weeks ago. Cass and I were at a friend's engagement party, having a great time. Lyra showed up uninvited and immediately made a beeline for us. She was clearly drunk and started loudly talking about how some people steal their friends' boyfriends and how she had dodged a bullet by getting rid of her clingy ex. I was ready to just ignore her and walk away, but she kept escalating. Finally, she got in Cass's face and said something like, "Hope you are ready to be abandoned the second he gets sick again." Since that is apparently his pattern, that is when I lost it. I told her she had some nerve talking about abandonment, when she literally chose her ex over her boyfriend's emergency surgery. I said she was just mad that we were happy while she was alone, because even Aiden didn't want her for more than a hookup. Harsh? Maybe. True, definitely. She started crying and making a scene about how everyone was against her, and how I had turned her best friend against her. A couple people tried to calm her down, but she kept going. Finally, the host asked her to leave. Here is the thing that really got me. As she was leaving, she said, "You will regret this when you realize what kind of person she really is." Like, even in her meltdown, she couldn't accept that maybe Cass was just a better person than her. Since then, it has been quiet. I heard through mutual friends that she has been going to therapy, which is honestly good for everyone involved. I hope she figures her stuff out, but it is not my problem anymore. Cass and I are doing great. We are talking about getting engaged next year, maybe buying a house together. Her family loves me. They never liked how Lyra treated her, and my parents keep asking when I am going to make it official with that wonderful girl. The whole experience taught me a lot about what I actually want in a partner and what I am willing to accept. I am grateful it happened. Honestly, If I had stayed with Lyra, I might have spent years in a mediocre relationship with someone who saw me as a convenience rather than a partner. Oh, and one last thing. I never did find out exactly what happened between Lyra and Aiden after I broke up with her. Apparently, he was only back in town for like 2 weeks before moving to San Francisco for work, so she really did blow up her entire life for a guy who was never planning to stick around anyway. Sometimes karma doesn't need any help from you. It handles itself just fine. Thanks again to everyone who helped me through that situation. This community is genuinely amazing. Edit. A few people have asked about my health. I am totally fine now. No lasting issues from the appendectomy, and having a partner who actually cares about my well-being has made me way more proactive about taking care of myself. Edit 2. To the person who had asking if I ever feel guilty about Cass losing her friendship with Lyra. Honestly, no. Cass has told me multiple times that she is happier without that toxic dynamic in her life. She said she feels like she can finally be herself instead of constantly managing Lyra's emotions and drama. That friendship was costing her way more than it was giving her.